Second lesson on Pythagoras Theorem. If you haven't watched the first video, it'd be worth looking at that before you look at this one. Okay, so we're going to look at problems where we're trying to find one of the shorter sides in the triangle. Just as a quick reminder, there's our right angled triangle. The longest side that we call the hypotenuse is the one opposite the right angle. And Pythagoras said that the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides, which leads us to this equation here. If you're not familiar with that, go back to the first video. We're going to look at a problem. Let's have a look at this one. So let's start with this one. So in this problem, we know the length of the hypotenuse. It's going to be 15 centimeters. And we know the length of this side down here, it's going to be 12 centimeters. It's definitely a right angled triangle, and we're trying to find this side, the height of the triangle, which we'll call x. So to do that, always start with Pythagoras Theorem. Write it out. C squared equals a squared plus b squared. Then we've said already that the hypotenuse, or the c, is 15, so that's going to mean that needs to be 15 squared there. And a squared is going to be this side over here, x, so that becomes x squared, and b is going to be 12, so that becomes 12 squared. From now on in, we're just following the mathematics, following the rules of maths, so we're just bid maths. We're going to do the indices first before we do this addition, and worry about the addition. So squaring 15, you can do it on a calculator if you like. It's going to give you 225 x squared, that's what we're trying to find, and 12 squared, 144. We want x on its own, so to get x on its own we're going to have to get rid of this plus 144 from the right hand side. To do that, we will subtract 144 from both sides. Don't forget it's an equation. Oops, let's go back a second. Sorry, minus 144 from both sides. So yeah, it's an equation. We've got to keep both sides the same and do the same thing to both sides. So 225 take away 144 leaves you with 81. The plus 144 and the minus 144 cancel each other out, so that gives us x squared on the right hand side. And now we can work out what x is. X has got to be the square root of 81, which you might know already is 9. Okay. Let's move on and look at another example. So in this triangle, we're trying to find x again, which is not the hypotenuse, it's this side here. There's our right angle. So our hypotenuse is going to be 10 meters, and our other side is going to be 7 meters. Okay. C squared equals a squared plus b squared. We should be in the routine of doing this now. We're looking for the C, which is the longest side. It's the one opposite the right angle. C must be 10. And it doesn't really matter which way around you get A and B, as long as you've made sure that you get the hypotenuse right. So a squared could be x squared, and b squared could be 7 squared. That's absolutely fine. Following the laws of mathematics and working out the indices first. 100 equals x squared plus 7 squared is 49. And again, we want to get x squared on its own, so we're going to have to subtract 49 from both sides, which would leave us with 51 on the left and just with x squared on the right. And then we want x is the square root of 51, which you will have to do on a calculator. And if you press the right buttons on your calculator, you will get that x is 7.14428.429. In this question, I think we're going to round to 2 decimal places. So find a decimal point and count 2 numbers along. That's where we're going to be doing our rounding. Look at the next number, see what to do. The next numbers are 1, so we know that we're not going to round up, we'll be rounding down. So x is 7.14 meters, and we've rounded to 2 decimal places. There we go, there's our answer.